There's 5 things you have to know about the W5100. The first is internet connectivity, the second is the BRAVIA Engine 3, third BRAVIA Sync, fourth Motionflow 120 Hz with IB reduction, and finally the cosmetics, number 5, narrow bezel and the thin depth. In terms of the internet connectivity, you've got DLNA streaming for pictures, music, and video. You can see here several servers. You can browse through the servers, find your photos, have a look at particular ones. It's just really easy to do, and you can go through and have a look at them. In the same way with music, we'll go look on the server here, find a piece of music, I'll go album, and you can see you've got support for thumbnails and all kinds of stuff like that. You go in, you play a song, and you get a nice little display. What's really impressive here is the video and the implementation of internet video. Primarily, YouTube is just becoming the place for not only all the video your friends make, but a lot of key content. Sony's just signed a deal to put all kinds of internet content and full-length movies on YouTube. And the implementation on the BRAVIA is second to none. You can see right here when it comes up that I'm logged in as a user, and this is really important for someone using the TV. They're on their computer or their phone, they get a link from someone that says, hey, watch this YouTube video. You don't have time to watch it, you just mark it as a favorite, and then when you go to your account, you can see some favorites. This is a great way to set up the TV because on your favorites you can put some things that you know look good or things you might just want to show, like this funny Sony ad or the Motionflow football flickbook that helps you explain Motionflow 120 and 240. These things are great in terms of being able to use YouTube. If you look at what's featured, you really see how YouTube is the place where breaking news or most interesting things are happening. There's this Outside Lands event. You've got some music clips from that. You have also down here, as we move on, some things for the Woodstock anniversary. People posted some videos. And as we move down, the Sundance Institute has some stuff around Sundance. So a lot of things that are happening currently can be found and featured, and things that you know are in great quality you can keep favorited that allow you to quickly demo some really cool content. As well, you can see here a lot of other content in the public domain and that's being licensed by different networks is ending up in full-length movies. So Charlton Heston and Hercules, some of the old sort of horror movies and early film. So someone who's really into video, there's a lot of stuff here because it's YouTube. So the YouTube implementation is very snappy. When you're actually watching video, you can continue to navigate because it'll load up in the side here. As you're working through, you can just keep going and looking for other content, and it will load up and play in the side window there. And if we want to go to full screen, we can do that. And as with everything else, you've got the controls on the remote. You can play and pause. So that's YouTube. But we have all these other channels as well, and it's worth some time to take a moment and figure out what's on the different channels. When you're qualifying your customers, you know, if they're a sports fan, if they're interested in horror movies, it's full-length horror movies. If they're someone who's into food, this Epicurious has all kinds of getting recipes ready. There's style, there's movie videos, there's the Crackle video channel. All kinds of content, but you need to spend some time to go through it. There's just so much here to go through. Video Detective is great for showing the quality available on the built-in video. So if we take a clip from HD like this X-Men Wolverine, we can see how nicely it works. So it loads quickly, very snappy in terms of the performance. And you'll notice when you have the fades here, there's no MPEG blocking, there's a lot of detail in the hair, there's a lot of detail in terms of the sound, and the fast action doesn't break up, so you can see the great quality available on the system. So people know that this is something that's ready for prime time. So it's always worthwhile to go to the Video Detective when you're doing a demo And then finally, if people are really into watching things on the internet or downloading them, the podcasts and video casts really give a lot of internet content that's really popular. So the great thing about video this way is that you just pick and watch it. You're not having to encode it, figure it out, do all these technical things. And for a lot of people, this is just the way to go with internet video. Finally, we have widgets. And currently we have weather, widget gallery, finance, and Twitter. Always make sure you check in at the widget gallery from time to time to see if there's anything new. The Twitter's the newest one. Activate enhanced features. This feature is used in the States currently to allow people to access Netflix and Amazon Unboxed and those kinds of things. It allows you to link your TV with its particular MAC address and serial number to a server so that you can do pay-for-use content. So that's something that's currently just available in the US. If we get licensing agreements to do stuff in Canada, this will be activated in terms of going to bravia.internet.sony.tv, and Canadians will be able to register there. So if we look at our widgets, we've got Twitter and weather here. I'll just show a couple things really quick to keep in mind. When we get that up, maybe we'll put a little content on here so we can see what we're doing. So the Twitter client gives you the ability to see what your Twitter feed, what things are coming up, and to be able to look at that. There is a public timeline, so you can access it and show it without having to enter in any kind of information, and it's just ready to go, and you can have that functionality. For a lot of people, this will be great just to be reading those tweets and being able to figure out what's on. With all the widgets, remember the options button is the one that allows you to move things around, minimize, open, change, and do all that stuff. So that's internet connectivity, streaming video implemented really well, widgets and DLNA content. Secondly, we have the BRAVIA Engine 3, the high-def video processor. Everything we do in the BRAVIA Engine 2 to take your standard definition signals when they're scaled, to make the edges look nice, to get rid of all the noise, to improve the color. All those things are only done on standard definition signals on a BRAVIA Engine 2 set. The BRAVIA Engine 3 allows us to do all those operations on high-def content to maximize all your incoming high-def sources that aren't your 24p Blu-ray player. So your cable box or your satellite or an old feed, sometimes things are rebroadcast and recompressed. BRAVIA Engine 3 will give you the maximum image quality. BRAVIA Sync is great because it works with so many devices. Obviously, you'd like it on the Blu-ray player and the home theater component so that when you press play or put in a disc, you automatically switch all the inputs, but as well with the high-def camcorders and the picture frames and the alpha cameras, the ability to just sync up and be able to look at pictures or other content on your TV is fantastic. Be sure if you can to be able to do a high-def camera demo, because that is one that always gets customers very excited. The W5100 has Motionflow 120 Hz, which, as you know, is the best 120 Hz implemented in the market today. What's unique to Sony is our implementation of image blur reduction. So between each two frames, when we're making a new frame, we make sure we sharpen each one of those frames so that the original content is as sharp as possible before we add new frames. This helps us to get a smooth, blur-free look while reducing that judder when we make extra frames. In addition, we handle 24p content natively, so we're actually putting in 3 new frames between every 24th of a second when we're reading from a Blu-ray player. So those two things, being able to handle 24p content properly and the image blur reduction, are unique to Sony's Motionflow. And finally, the cosmetics. With the narrow bezel and the thin depth, this TV is one that's very, very attractive. And at the price point that it sits at, moving up from the V and having to go so far to get to the next model, the Z, this really lands in a sweet spot. So those are the top 5 W5100 items you need to know. Internet connectivity, BRAVIA Engine 3, BRAVIA Sync, Motionflow 120 with image blur reduction, and those great Sony cosmetics.